And now for our main event of this evening, which we've all been waiting for. I will now call our guests of honor to please come on stage. I invite Mr. R. Balki, who is the Chairman and Chief Creative Officer of Low Lintus. And all of us here have seen these beautiful movies, Chini Kam, Pa, and English Vinglish. And somehow they've touched a chord in each of our hearts. And what is the common factor in all these movies? It's the creation of Mr. R. Balki. And we're so pleased, we're so honored to have him here with us today. Mr. Balki, please come on stage. And now for our second guest of honor, Mr. Stefan. He is an acclaimed director, creator, and producer of circus theater and films, whose creations have appeared on stages, festivals, and screens all across the globe. And back in 1984, he was instrumental in starting Cirque du Soleil. All of us have heard of Cirque du Soleil, seen their shows all across the continents, and he was actually so instrumental in getting the circus act into mainstream theater. Revolutionary idea in those times. Today we are all used to this. We look forward to this. So I invite Mr. Stefan, who is actually the creator of circus theater. Please do come on stage, and a big hand for him. And now I will request Mr. V. Balasubramaniam to please present the mementos to both our guests. To Mr. Balki. And then to Mr. Stefan. Thank you, Mr. Balasubramaniam. Thank you, Mr. Balasubramaniam. And finally, I call upon Mr. Anish Trivedi. Please do come on stage. And Mr. Trivedi, he will be hosting today's session. He will be asking all the right questions. And a little introduction of Mr. Anish Trivedi. He was a Wall Street investment banker who chucked up his lucrative job and decided to make his hobby his profession. And so he took to writing, to hosting TV and radio shows, and occasionally acting. And all of us here in India now know him by his book, Call Me Dan. So Mr. Anish Trivedi, now I request you to kindly take over the host for today's talk. Over to Mr. Anish Trivedi. Thank you.
Thank you, Nupur. I love the way she says, I chucked up my lucrative Wall Street job. I was fired. No, I'm kidding. But we're not here to talk about that. I actually have to say that I'm probably one of the very few people in this room who remember this place when it was a trading ring. And it brings back a lot of memories for me. Some good, some not so good. But it's great to be back over here, and it's great to be surrounded by such talent. Him. Balki, I have to say, you heard all about his wonderful movies. Let me tell you, he actually cast me in one of them. No one saw the film. No, it's great to have both of you over here. Stefan, I'm going to kick off with you. We've heard so much about you. This has got to be the only time I have seen a room full of men applaud another man when he walks on stage. Your boy.
Great. Yeah, I'll take it. Hello. Ho. All right. Hello, everybody. Let's see. Audience interaction. What do we call this thing? What are we calling it? Lessons, engaging with the audience. So my job is to engage with you right now. Hi. Okay, I just engaged with maybe about 30% of you. It's like, hi. Whoa. Okay, that's starting to be about 400 of you. Okay, good. Okay. Hey, how are you doing, sir? You're fine? Great. I'm fine too. Hey, this is really an important moment right now in time, because what we're doing right now is we're celebrating live theater. We're celebrating live theater. This is the only place where I can say hi and you say hi back and it means something to me, okay? So the problem is in our culture, theater doesn't seem like it's terribly important. And I was in Bangalore a couple of weeks ago, and this CEO, I went by his house and I sat down with him and he said to me, I have been in theater. I love theater, but what is the point of it? Why do I have to, what do I tell my people to motivate to do theater? Why should I do theater? And I said to him, well, it's probably the only job you can get that can't be replaced by a robot. Because it has to do with spirit, and it has to do with connection, and it has to do with adjusting my performance right now. So the guy in the yellow shirt back there is having a good time. You okay back there? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for the little that. You're not sure about me yet, right, pal? Okay, great. So this is the only art form, what we're going to talk about today, where you make a difference. You are actually part of it. And we in the performance arts, we want to engage the audience. Now, the problem with engaging the audience, it's almost like, did anybody ever watch Star Trek? All right. 3 of you watch Star Trek. Because I saw 3 hands go up, okay? Okay, how many people actually saw Star Trek? Raise your hands. Okay, good. That's a little better. Okay, good. So in Star Trek, the phones, when I was watching Star Trek, were on these cords that went down. And then they went way over here. And we would watch Star Trek on the phone, and we said, oh, they're never going to have phones without cords. Never. And they have them now. And they even talk to you now. Okay? So, the reason I bring this up is because there's another part of Star Trek where people would go into these tubes and they would be able to go somewhere else. They would actually disappear and go somewhere else. You remember that? He said, yes, I remember that. And it was really cool and you wanted to do it. Well, we actually aren't doing that. We actually aren't doing that physically, but we sure as heck are doing that mentally. When I'm in India and I'm talking to China, Brazil, America, eating a sandwich and watching a movie, that's going to a lot of different places at the same time. So the question is, why am I bringing up Star Trek? And why am I bringing this up is because we are too busy with a lot of instruments, and we are neglecting the most important instrument, and that would be this instrument: my body, voice, speech, imagination. Theater is the only art form which can stretch time. The world is going faster and faster and faster, but the theater is the one place where we can actually all breathe together and have the same collective idea and actually relax. If I gave you guys 10 seconds, and you didn't think about who you wanted to text, that would be awesome. Because you know you're addicted to the little frrrr. Every time you feel the frrrr, you go, whoa, I'm popular. I am amazingly popular. And you sit there and you talk to people and you go, frrrr, oh, popular again. Frrrr, oh, popular again. Excuse me, I'm going to check how popular I am. Roaming charges, $5. You don't even care about, someone could be texting you who you don't care about and say, hi, what's up? And that would be more important than talking to your ailing mother in that moment. And don't tell me it's not true, because it's true for me. I do not prioritize properly in life because of that hit of popularity. And it keeps me from being in the here and now. Theater is the one place where you can land in the here and now with a group of people, okay? Theater is the one place where I am working on my instrument, body, voice, speech, imagination, and I'm trying to communicate with just this, okay? That's all. And the only reason I say this is because I've got the problem too. I've got that problem too. I do it all the time. So the question is, how do we slow time down, and how do we celebrate the slowing of time? And the way we do is public performance. The way we do is listening to the beautiful music we just heard right there. And to do the things that are inconvenient, but at the end you go, oh, that soothed my soul a bit. So this is really what's important to me. I do something called, I did work with Cirque du Soleil, and circus is an art form where the audience is important. So you are important to us, and we're just about going to talk, all of us, about some stuff. And the great thing about theater is people say, oh, did I do that scene right when I'm teaching them? And I'm going, you know, theater is not about right or wrong. Theater is about discovering what the new paradigm of theater should be. I'm seeing kids here today, and I want to let you know that kids, I say kids, you're 20, who knows? But I taught at a university, so I'm sitting here going, how am I going to make Shakespeare relevant? I'm at NYU, I'm at New York University, and I'm going, how can I make Shakespeare relevant? Because I don't want to sit through 3 hours. I don't want to hear someone talk so long. I'm bored. So what do? So what I did was I took one of the plays called Midsummer Night's Dream, and I changed it to Midsummer Night's Text, where the lovers are on their computer so much that the parents kick them out of the house into the forest. So now they're in the forest and they don't have their computers, but they have their phones. So it doesn't matter. They don't care. So what they do is they start texting each other and they start having their relationship, which technically isn't a relationship because it's through this. And so technically, I don't have to respond to you if I don't like what you say. I can just go, oh, whatever. I don't have to respond. In life, you have to respond. So, Puck, the fairy, steals all the phones. They wake up. They don't have their phones. It's Okay, and they look at each other and they want to talk to each other, but they're going to have to actually talk to each other. They're actually going to have to look at each other. And they may not like what that person says to them. And you know something? They may even fall in love with someone they didn't know they could. And the world is more surprising when you're not in control. All these machines put you in control, one-on-one human connection. That's what theater's about, and that's what we are trying to keep that tradition going. So I thank you. We're going to go into a conversation now. And thank you for your time, and we'll start. Okay.
Actually, Stefan, Balki and I were saying, why don't we just let you do the rest of the 45 minutes as well? You know, it's interesting you talk about theater. We're here to talk about entertainment as an industry. Now, I'm pretty sure that when all three of us were your age, entertainment wasn't an industry. We talked about theater, and I was captain of drama in school. And I told my father, Dad, I've been accepted at Oxford to study drama. And my father looked at me and he said, wow, son, that's fantastic. I'm so glad you've been accepted to Oxford to study drama. Now shut the hell up and learn banking. There was nothing outside of commerce, law, medicine, engineering, and that was about it. Now we're sitting over here talking about it being an industry. Balki, when did this become an industry?
Hello, yeah. When the bankers moved in.
Are we an industry? You know, we talk about, we see the FICCI report and we see the CII report, and PwC comes out with the entertainment industry guidelines and the report for how well it's going to do. And every year I see this 73% year-on-year growth, 42% year-on-year growth. Are we still a cottage industry? Is this something that these kids should be considering as a career?
I don't think the size of the industry or the pace at which it's growing should play a role in anybody's consideration of anything. But I think it's the most interesting industry that there is. So I'm sure that they should choose it. I think a lot of people who are not in the industry wish they were part of the industry. That's enough for people to choose the industry.
So it took me 15 years of investment banking to finally quit and say, you know what, I'm going to let a passion, a hobby become a profession. And that's when I moved into radio. Why did you do it? Why did you not do the engineering, doctoring, chartered accountancy, stockbroking? Why? What made you choose the path that you took?
My story was a little different because I wasn't qualified to do anything else. And I think entertainment, this is a great industry for people who don't know anything else, who are bad at everything else, who flunk everything under the sun, and are not accepted in any prestigious institution. And I think 80% of people are like that, so they should all join the entertainment industry. It's not a joke, it's actually quite serious, because I joined it seriously because I was thrown out of college for not attending college, because I was playing a lot of cricket. And I always wanted to make films and I wanted to play cricket. So I wasn't interested in anything else. And like you said, at that point of time, there was nothing else to do. So we just wandered around till I discovered advertising as a way to get into something to do with the industry, because there wasn't an industry at that point of time. So it was a kind of a lot of luck, and but very, very early on in life, I was always fascinated with films.
So it's true, advertising will take absolutely anyone.
Advertising, that's absolutely true. Advertising will, the only thing you need to join advertising is a zero qualification. You shouldn't be good at anything. You should have a virgin mind. You should not be spoilt by the educational institutions. And you should come in and you should think.
Of course, all those applauding in the audience are the ones whose parents are spending a few 100,000 rupees in sending them to business school right now. Stefan, how about you? What made you go down this path?
I could do nothing else.
So hang on, let me get this right. I'm actually sitting on stage, the most accomplished person over here, surrounded by two losers.
It took such a long time for you to find that out.
Yes, we are a loser sandwich right here, ladies and gentlemen. But
I'm just the ham in the middle.
But the thing is, I can tell you quite honestly that I couldn't do anything else. I was really not a terribly good student. I was ahead of my time in terms of life because I got ADD before they called it anything. I was, I had attention deficit disorder. So in the world today, with all the gizmos, I'm perfect. So because I can multitask and do that kind of thing. But ultimately, I really love telling stories. And I've actually, and it doesn't matter if it's a play or a movie or what it is, but it's really getting a community of people together to tell stories. And that's really the basis of what I do.
You stuck it through, Balki. You said you wanted to play cricket, make films. Clearly you weren't that good a cricketer because you chose the films instead. But kidding aside, why continue in the industry? Advertising, films. You stuck it through, and you've made some great films. You made films that have been critically acclaimed. You made films that have been box office hits. When you went down that path and you said, I can't do anything else, there was still that thought at the back of your mind that said, yes, I can make good films. And it happened.
Stuck it through. I've just begun. I don't think there can be anything interesting in my life more than making films or telling stories. I love writing, and I believe a film or a play or anything else is a way of expressing an idea or a story that you have. And I love telling stories, like you said, just expressing my ideas, expressing stories. And I don't think I've found anything more interesting in life than that. And I don't think there ever will be. So I think I will stick it through till I can possibly walk.
Stefan, how about you? It's not an easy life being in theater. Let's face it, there is no money in theater.
Yeah, I've faced it for a couple of years. Yeah, that's true. But there it is. I taught acting in Los Angeles for a while and worked on TV shows. And I'd have young actors come up to me and go, hey, and they'd be kind of good looking. And they'd walk over to me and they'd say, hey, you think I got what it takes? And I'd be like, no. And I did that on purpose. I said no because if they stopped coming to my class, then they were doing it for the wrong reason. They were doing it to get the acclaim of a stranger, as opposed to if I told someone no and then they came back to my class, they needed to act. So it's something, if you need to do it, I'm sorry, but I'll see you for a few decades. But if you don't need to do it, great, I'm really happy for you. So it's not something that I would recommend, but if you need to do it. I have a 24-year-old daughter, and she didn't get cast in a play in high school, and she goes, Dad, I don't think I want to do this. And I'm like, thank God, that's great. I was very happy that she didn't. And she's a writer now, and she's doing different things. But I think it's something that's difficult, but there's no better feeling than building the family of an ensemble putting a show together. That's a beautiful feeling. And I'm sure when you do films, it's like the same kind of feeling.
I'm actually going to come back to something you said about them come back to your class. And to me, if you tell someone you don't have it, what it takes, that's the reason they should be coming back, to be able to learn what they need to be able to have it. It's about discipline. So we talk about entertainment, and everyone sees the glamour, everyone sees Balki being applauded when he comes in. They see the Golden Globes and they see the Oscars that you've got lined up on your shelf. But it is more than that. It is a discipline in the writing that you do. It's a discipline in the directing that you do. It's a discipline in the advertising that you do. And people tend not to see that outside the industry. They don't realize how much hard work that goes in. What do you say to the dilettantes who come in and say, Balki, make me an actor, make me a star?
I'm not in, unfortunately, I'm not in a position that he is, that who can teach somebody acting or make somebody a star. All I can do is, I can write a story. I can write, and I can see people who fit into a particular character in the film. And if they do fit, I take them. But that's about it. But my joy comes from not making people stars, but in actually writing things for people to act, which is a little different. Which is, I love the process of writing, and writing requires a lot of discipline. But you know something, when you really are doing something that you want to do, I don't think you ever categorize it as discipline. You don't use the word in your head. It's a great thing to explain to people that you need a lot of discipline. You need to kind of sit around there for hours to do it. But when you want something done, you do it in any profession, any field. So you have your own, everybody has their own discipline instilled when the end is very clear. This is what I want to do. The discipline follows. If the word discipline comes into play only if you're forced to do something that you don't want to do, but you have to do it, then it's a kind of a discipline. I just have to do it. Whereas in writing, what happens is, though you need to sit around, you need to kind of struggle, you need to do all the stuff, but it's about cracking it. It's about like a little puzzle which happens every day, which you need to keep cracking every point in time. So I don't think discipline is about resilience more than discipline, as much as just don't give up because you're tired. I mean, that's all I would say. I mean, you will get tired, you will get fresh again, get tired, get fresh again. That's about it, moves on.
I know.
One thing that I'd like to piggyback off of that is the notion of a star as opposed to the notion of an actor or somebody who actually earned the capacity to perform. In this day and age, I'm sorry with that we have like the Kardashians, or we have people who are becoming famous and rich without training as an actor. This is a phenomenon.
Without talent, you forgot that.
Right, talent. But if they don't have talent, at least they have sweat to learn. And this is something that when I see the young people, like everybody wants to be a star, but it used to, when I was training for the theater, charisma was just one thing. Now charisma is everything. You think that you can make it because you have that something. However, if I put you on stage, you might not talk as loud, and you might not express yourself. So the people, and when you talk about the description of who I've worked with, the people like Val Kilmer, Tim Robbins, and even Joan Baez, when I worked with them was they would do a movie, and then Val Kilmer would play Mark Twain in a 100-seat house in LA. So he would so what I'm saying is, these guys are theater people who do movies. They are not stars who live the star life. So that's the difference.
I'll give you a small example. I don't think anybody has more charisma than Amitabh Bachchan has today. But I think he's the hardest, I don't think he's the hardest working guy. He loves his craft so much that discipline follows. I don't think he sees it as, he doesn't see that I have to do this, I have to work on this. He does it with, complete interest, and it's a part of his blood because he wants to act so badly. So charisma is something that comes to him, that he has. I don't think anybody can develop a charisma as much as you need to have something in it, something in you already. But the amount he works without ever knowing that he's working on it, just because he loves it, is phenomenal. That's what makes the charisma a lot more, desirable.
Is part of that love for what you do part of your success? If you're an actor, if you're a writer, there is only so much that craft can do for you. If you're terrible, you're terrible. But that passion that Amitabh Bachchan brings to the screen, to his role, and I did a very small part in one of your films with him, so I know. you don't treat it as a profession, but you don't treat it as stardom either, do you?
You don't. You just treat it as something that you're very lucky to find. You found one thing in life that you love so much, and you just want to just hold on to it. It's lovely doing it because you're damn lucky to be in a position where you found something that you like very much. Why would you treat that as work? Why would you treat that as discipline and sweat and all that follows? Yes, those are words used to describe the hard work that goes behind everything. But it's something like people ask me. I mean, you work so much in advertising, you do so many brands. I think it's a game. We've had fun. I mean, somebody's paying us to have a lot of fun. Somebody's paying us to have a ball. So it's a game. I don't need a hobby. Somebody asked me a very funny question. What do you play? I said, I play advertising. I mean, it's a game. It's every day somebody's coming with a problem. Okay, let me solve this. Let me do that. It's great fun. Some days you win. Some days you lose. Some days it's a tie. Some days you don't. It's absolutely, it's a game. And I think, and it's a game somebody's paying you money for. So, like most games they do these days. So, I think people are damn lucky to be in jobs that they really love doing. And I'll give you another example. Rajiv Bajaj, who makes motorbikes. Okay, I mean, I don't think he needs to be working hard and the discipline and everything else. That man dreams bikes, lives bikes. He's having a drink. He's going to talk to you about something in the world about, he brings it back to some piston technology, something else, spark plug. On one hand, it's quite painful listening to bikes 24 hours a day, but on the other hand, it's phenomenally wonderful to watch somebody so passionate about, love what he's doing, make a bike. So it varies for various people. He dreams bikes. He could live with a bike the rest of his life.
You know, we used to talk about the starving actor and how you had to starve for your craft. Let me just say, for my part, it sounds great when Nupur gets up there and says that I quit investment banking to follow my dream. The truth of the matter is, I was a partner in the second largest partnership on Wall Street. We were 120 partners, and we sold the partnership to a Canadian commercial bank. And the fact of the matter was that I no longer ever had to worry about rent or food on the table or the children's education or any of that. I could afford to follow my passion. I could afford to say, I'm going to chuck investment banking and I'm going to do radio instead. And I'm going to start radio stations. Or I'm going to write books, I'm going to write plays. And that's what I want to do. Do you, in this day and age, not back when we were looking at that golden age of theater and golden age of film, and when all you needed were 2.5 rupees in your pocket to be able to come here and make it in Bollywood or Hollywood, do you need the comfort of that paycheck coming in to be able to do what you need to do now in today's world?
No, not at all. Actually, it's easier in today's world than it ever was, because there is so much more money in so many more passions. There are, passions have become industries, passions have become professions, passions pay a lot. Really, who thought kabaddi would be such a great sport? Okay, and there would be, that was somebody's passion, which went and did all that. So I think today is the best time where you can really cash in on your passion. Today is absolutely the best time.
Stefan?
It's fascinating because I was just at IIT Gandhinagar and up in Ahmedabad, and I was teaching for 2 months up there a theater program, and it was an immersion program because when the freshmen come in, they're pretty tired and they've been stressed because they got there, and so I taught theater to the freshmen for 5 weeks, and the master students, and the thing about it is it isn't an either or. Peter Brook, a great theater director, said, if you want to direct. Go into a small room with 2 people and direct a play. Just do it, okay? So the question is, I met people who were incredibly passionate, but they said, oh, my parents, I can't. Well, you can. You can do whatever you want, and you can configure that puzzle of your life any way you like. And if that means doing your regular job and then at night meeting with a bunch of friends and doing a video or doing this or doing that or experimenting with your aesthetic, if that feeds your soul, then you won't live in resentment. If you're just doing a job and saying, and you're your age and you're saying, oh gosh, I can't afford that, I can't do that. This is really, in your 20s is really the time to find out what you don't want to do. So that means you have to try a lot of things.
And it helps in your 20s if you're living with your parents still and they're putting the food on the table, because then you can actually go out and try and experiment. I'm going to come back to the whole industry part of it and the fact that we treat it as one. You talked about the bankers coming into the business, and it's true. The bankers are in movie making, they're in radio, they're in television. So far, they're not in theater. So far, and maybe that's a good thing. But are we seeing that industrialization? Are we seeing our passions, our creativity being driven out by someone else's need for money?
No, I think it's when somebody invests, regardless of who else is following his or her passion, you want the person to kind of get his money back, because he's not doing it for his passion; he's doing it for his money. So if there's no money, there's no passion. So I think it's not one or the other. You have to do both. But I think this is an evolving industry, since it's a newly corporatized industry. There are so many people who have no clue of the business, running the businesses. Like I think, like for few years back, about some years back, you would find a lot of people in many fields, even in advertising. A lot of people who didn't really do advertising were running advertising businesses, you know. So it's funny. So I think it's changing. It will change. It'll change more. And I think there are a lot more bankers who will know the business a lot better, who will know how to make money in this business. I mean, this is not a business. This is a business of chance. This is a business of an idea. Like, you are trusting somebody else's idea. The more you kind of bet on formulas, the more you're going to kind of flop, because it's boring after a little while. This is a business of keeping life interesting. So when you want to make money out of doing interesting things, you can't have a formula, because the very nature of being interesting is doing something that you haven't done before. And you need to bet on what is new, which you don't understand and which you think will work. And that requires a lot of gut feel, a lot of instinct, a lot of understanding of mankind, a lot of understanding of life to make money in this business, make good money in this business. Yeah, it's evolving.
You know, the great thing about theater is that every show is a new show. And every evening that you step onto that stage, there's always something new. It's not the film where you get on, you've shot it, it's been canned, and that's my performance for eternity. When I'm on stage, I know every evening there's going to be something different, because you're reacting to the audience differently. With that difference that comes in theater, is that part of what you need in our business, the business that the three of us are in? That's something different, that ability to try something different every time you're doing it. No radio show I ever did was ever the same. No stage performance you've ever done is identical to the one that you did the night before. And no film that you ever write will be, I hope, a continuation, and we won't get Star Trek 10 coming out. That need to evolve, that need to experiment, that need to try something new, is that what makes us a great business to be in?
Absolutely. I think the moment you define this business as, okay, this will connect with the audience, you know, that's a great thing to kind of, the moment you define this as people who understand what connects with the audience, you're finished. You're not a business. It's about new ideas, hoping the audience will connect with. Now, you know, people think that they understand how to connect with audiences. You know, there are a lot of filmmakers who've had magnificent hits and a lot of advertising that have become blockbusters. And people who create them or make them are known as people who really understand the pulse of the masses, the pulse of people. Rubbish, they understand the pulse of people. Nobody does a film or in most of the films that they believe connect with the audiences have a star. The people come to see the star, and they so happen to see the film and they make the money. Nobody else connects to the audience. But I'm saying that the people who make hit films, make good connection with the audiences, do it by connecting to themselves. And it so happens by chance that a lot of people are similar to them, because everybody is human and everybody's got similar hearts and similar brains. So I think chances are that you will be what you like, most people will like, if you really like it. So I think it's about doing something which connects with you if you're normal, and hoping that it'll connect with a lot of people, and trying to do that each time, trying to do something new that makes your life interesting, and hopefully will make a lot of people you kind of are speaking to also interested in what you do. So it's a business of figuring out. It's a business of chance. The greatest times are when you don't know. The greatest time and the greatest thrill in this business is somebody came and told me, you think this will make 50 crores in the first weekend? I said, if I knew it, then, I would do it straight away. I do it every week, yeah. I do 3 days, 50 crores, 3 days, 50 crores. Who wouldn't want that? I have no idea. I'm doing something, and I hope it'll work, because I'm not deranged. So hopefully, I think people will like it. But too bad if they don't like it. It's a business like that. That is the entertainment business. I'm telling you a joke. I don't know whether you laugh or not. I hope you laugh. But if you don't laugh, it's a damn squib. So it's just like that. This business is about that. Waiting for people. Are they going to laugh? Are they going to laugh? Are they going to laugh? Hoping that you laughed so they'll find it funny. So that's where it is.
And that's exactly what happens in theater. In the first play that I wrote and produced, I had a line where the man is effectively telling his wife that he's in love with another woman. And there was pathos. It was the most emotional thing I'd ever heard. Every time I read the line on the script, I would cry. Tears would come to my eyes. And opening night, the guy looks at his wife and he says this, and the audience bursts out laughing. You never get it. You never understand an audience. How are you ever going to be able to tell yourself, I know what an audience wants?
Well, the beautiful thing about comedy is they're the judge and jury. I don't have to talk to you about whether this is funny or not. We just have to put it in front of these guys, and we'll see what works. Talking about advertising in theater, part of my challenge is that with social media and everything that makes your life work, I need the input of young people in terms of what makes you excited. How do I make theater like your favorite DJ? How can I get 2,000 people in the house and communicate ideas, not just have you dance, but how can I merge what you see as public space shows and what I want to show? And that's why I do circus, and that's why we do aerial, and we do things that have to do with peril, because that's a lot of people. There's a show called De La Guarda and Forza Bruta in New York, which is almost like a dance show, but they also have stories at the same time. So I want to get you guys back in the theater, not just in the clubs. And the way I can do that is how you use social media, what's interesting to you, and how do I get people to cough up money. They'll cough up $18 in Las Vegas for a drink, but they won't pay $25 for a play. So how do I do that?
Well, my biggest problem was that I'd be performing at the NCPA, and right next to it was the Inox, and I had to compete with Balki's film, where the ticket cost as much, the popcorn was better, the cast was better looking, and you figure, how do you get people into a theater? Now, one of the things that you just did was work with a bunch of students who'd come from the pressure of the entrance exam, of getting into one of the finest universities in the country, and you were detoxing them before they started the whole regimen all over again. But there's more to it than just detoxing. There's also a discipline in theater that applies to the real world, that applies to the corporate world as well.
Well, I think you brought it up. I think when you ignite the passion in them, they have discipline. if you love what you do, you're going to work tirelessly. Their final productions, they were in rooms till like 2 in the morning working on them. And that's discipline, but that's not discipline where I should do it. That's discipline because I love to do it. And that's what we try to do. That's the merging of the arts and commerce. How do I make money and love making money, or love making art, which makes money? I mean,
but there's a huge, from taking off from what you're saying, in terms of art making money. The very definition of art is about leading. It's about giving life something new. It's about leading people. It's about making people look up to something or see something they haven't seen before, or making them borrow something into their lives. That is, I think, what the definition of art. But the very business of money is about understanding what people want and giving it to them. So there are conflict in its very nature. Art is supposed to lead, business is supposed to follow. So the business of art will only work if you wait patiently with ideas that lead, and you can make money without jumping in before and saying, hey, they want it, let me give it to them. So I think that is the beauty of the industry. That's why it's not so much an industry, it's not so much a business, but it's masquerading as one. There's lots of money in it because people are coming to see it. So it's a tricky kind of a zone, which someday I think will crack.
Okay, now see, this is why you make films and we're in the theater. Because we would never say the business of art. There is a business of entertainment. But can art ever be a business? Isn't art about, and I'll bring it down to a line from a film, you make me want to be a better man. When I see a painting, when I hear a piece of music, when I see a play, when I see a film, when I read a book, it has to make me think. I may hate it, I may love it. It's when I don't have an opinion that you as the filmmaker, as you as the theater director, I as the author have not done my job. I haven't made you react to what I have put in front of you.
Absolutely right. And I think it's not about theater or cinema or a painting or even advertising. It is about reaction. In advertising there's a great tendency to always follow consumers. It is about researching what they want. It's about a lot of focus groups. It's about understanding consumers' needs. These are the ways of life in business, of the business of marketing. But the best ads are those that don't follow consumers, that lead consumers, that give consumers a new hook phrase, a new way of life, a new way of looking at a relationship, a new way of laughing, a new way of crying, a new joke, something or the other. Any ad that adds to a consumer's life without borrowing from it will be a greater ad, always, because it's adding back to life. Because art, why do people come to watch any form of art? Because there are too many people talking to people about what's going on in their life. Here's something they want to add back to their lives. That's why people come to art. Give something back to me. Don't keep borrowing from my life. Business borrows from my life. Everything borrows from my life. Please add something back. That's what art is supposed to do. Any form.
How about the theater, Stefan? You talked about Midsummer Night's Dream and the adaptation and bringing it into the modern world. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do, and please don't steal this idea because I haven't written the script yet, I mean you, was Macbeth. And you have the three witches up in front, except that they're all in business suits. And they're going, when shall we three meet again in thunder, lightning, or in rain? And the first one pulls out a PDA and says, no, can't do thunder, busy that day. Right. And that's what we're moving towards. How do you make Shakespeare relevant in today's day and age for a bunch of kids who think Shakespeare is the most boring thing they have ever come across?
Well, first of all, I think it's not a linear analog world anymore. And this is, we can probably talk about it in the movies as well. How do we storytell today? It's not one thing at a time. It's not chronological. It becomes abstract in a way. It's like, what are the emotions? How can I tell this story in a way that will create adrenaline for the public because they are surprised. So I constantly want to reimagine the form, not the content of the play, but how I'm going to present it. Because the play itself, no one can dispute what Romeo and Juliet means. Every movie is done about it. I mean, these are archetypes which work for everybody, but how I do it, that's why I'm never worried about someone stealing anything that I do on a certain level, because I'm going to do it different. I'm going to bend that thing. I'm going to make it so different. And if someone does it better than me, I'm going to be happy that someone was more creative than me in terms of my brain having a certain, like, glass ceiling. So when I see someone do it, I don't feel jealous. I feel like, thank heavens that in my lifetime, this brilliant man did this on stage.
Oh, absolutely. When I see, it's that moment when you say to yourself, I wish I'd done that. Balki, we've been brought up in a Bollywood where, when you and I were growing up, made formula films. As you said, it didn't matter about the script, it mattered about who was acting in there. And the fact that there was the rest of the movie that went with it was completely incidental. You haven't gone down that route. You haven't done formula. You haven't done the adaptation of Die Hard 3. You've taken a different path, which has, as I said earlier, been both critically and financially successful. Why that path? Why not the safe? I've got Amitabh. I've got the biggest star in Bollywood working with me. Let me put him in the kind of role that he's always done.
Let me put it this way. I mean, I wouldn't want to waste 2 years of my life doing something that's already been done. It's a damn difficult thing. I wonder how people do it. I really salute people who do formula stuff. I salute people who remakes. I salute people who do adaptations, because I want to understand what makes that work, because in their heads, because anyway, you've got to do the same amount of work. There's a lot of work, labor involved in filmmaking. I mean, though I might call it passion, it's still 2 years of your life going by. Why would I want to spend those 2 years doing something that's been done before? I've never been able to answer that question. The day I answer that question, maybe I would do remakes.
Possible answer, and I'm sure that's top of their minds, is because it makes them a shitload of money.
No, I'm sure a lot of other things also would make them a shitload of money. You would rather kind of experiment and doing something new to make a shitload of money. Because the first shitloads of money were made by original people. Okay? Actually, they did something original. And if you just remember how they made the shitloads of money, you could also make shitloads of money, rather than just copying what they've done already.
When are we ever going to see shitloads of money in theater?
We won't. But just bringing up the same thing you said, I think there are two kinds of people out there that do the arts. There are copiers and there are creators. The copiers look at the demographic, they look at the genres, they go, oh, this has worked. It's a gardener superhero. I'm going to do a plumber superhero. And so they study what's out there and they try to replicate it.
I hate to tell you, but that was done, Super Mario Brothers.
Okay. So there are copiers and creators. And so basically, I'm a creator, so I'm happy to do my own thing, and I'm happy to create new work which might fail or might be brilliant, but I have to keep it fresh. I'm the same way. I mean, I could do formula stuff, or I could go to a repertory company and do a Tennessee Williams play or this or that. I have to do original material because that's giving birth to new life with me and a group of people, and we see what the next because I redefine what theater is every time I do it for me.
Because what they call formulas, I'm not sure if are successes. You know, people mistake it. I mean, you can't say a film like, for example, say a Kick. Okay, take a film like Kick. Okay. I mean, you put Salman Khan against a green screen and make him say a few things, it'll still work. That's not formula, that's not remakes, it's not anything. It's Salman Khan. That's an original entity. You know, so he works. So it's not the film, it's not the thing. People really mistake a film versus what you're coming. I keep saying this about this, one of the greatest phenomenons in this country. Take the people we know, take Amitabh Bachchan or take a person diametrically opposite like Rajinikanth. I mean, can you, I don't know if that is true art, because he's an original specimen of mankind. He's absolute originality. You forget the film. Sometimes when you watch, it's not about the story, it's not about this thing. I'm seeing something original out there. Okay, I'm seeing something that's art. Because that's contributing to my life. He taught me how to flip a cigarette. He taught me how to do this. He taught me how to walk like that. He taught me how to speak fast. He taught me how to say rubbish with great style. I mean, that gives me phenomenal confidence in life. He's contributing to my life. He's an art piece. He should be, he is a national icon according to me. Forget his films. Sometimes it's always we confuse mediums when you say everything should be like that. No, it needn't. There is something original there. What about today? You call Amitabh Bachchan as the greatest icon today. You look at his films. I mean, he was the origin. They came to watch him. There was a originality about him, and it exists till today. We sometimes confuse films with stars as, you know, formula or not. It's really not that. There are great original specimens hanging out there which are doing its job.
The scary part in the music business. A few years ago, I had an investment opportunity that came to me from this outfit that was down in Florida. And they said, we're using artificial intelligence to troll the Billboard Top 40s. And we are now able to dissect and deconstruct a song from the lyrics, from the music, from the beat. And we can deconstruct it and tell you whether it will be a Billboard Top 40 song or not. Which means we are going to get, you talked about the Kardashians, we're going to get every second-rate boy band, girl band, singer. That's what our charts are going to be, because we're going to follow this little formula over there. Would you ever even consider talking to someone like this to deconstruct one of your scripts to say, okay, here's the script, here are the actors I'm thinking of putting in there. Will I get a hit? Run it through the formula, run it through the regression analysis, and tell me whether it's going to work.
You know, I actually think we'd stop looking at the Billboard Top 40 as the most popular music if that kind of thing happens, you know.
They have Justin Bieber on there.
They would, yeah, they would redefine that more than anything else. But deconstruct a script and everything else? Well, no, I would actually... Why would I deconstruct? I would make a machine to write it. Why would I, after writing it, deconstruct it and I ask a machine whether it would work or not, and can I do that? I'd rather, you know, sometimes I tell people, I wish I could write something, feed it through a machine, come through as a film. You know? Why would I want to be so, you know, whether it would appeal to somebody or not? I would first like to figure out whatever appeals to me. I think I'm in a different business. I think the entertainment business is a slightly different business than the normal kind of, you know, business. Because what you do when you're doing that, when you want to be foolproof about whether it's going to be on top of the charts or not, you're killing the charts. Okay? The charts are being devalued if you do that. There's so many things. Everybody's quite sure of a lot of things go out of what could have come on the charts, what could have kept the charts alive. It's about making a film, you're sure going to win the Oscar. If somebody comes to him and says, these are the parameters. Please do this. This is what you have to do. And this is what you'll get the Oscar. You think the Oscar will have value?
I think the whole notion of awards is something that you don't.
Not that it has. All I'm saying is any award, any kind of a thing like that, anything
right,
which people see sacred.
Of course not. Yeah. I think it's all about, once again, I'm going to go back to community of who you build this with. I remember I did a show in the 90s and had a kind of falling out with my choreographer, but the show did very well. And I remember going on stage because we both won the choreography award, and it was such a mixed feeling of out there, everybody said, oh, he's got an award, and in here, my heart was not in it because I had had problems with the people I was working with. So the question is not, will you get an award? It's who you get it with and how trustworthy and honest and wonderful the process was. Because if you're going to sit there with the photographers looking at you and you're standing with those people, it doesn't feel good when you haven't had a good experience with those people.
We don't really do these things because we think we're going to win awards, do we? There is a certain arrogance in us that says, we know what will work because I like my book, I like my plays, you like your scripts, you like your work. We like it, so it stands to reason that anyone with half a brain out there is going to like it too.
Yeah, awards are a different entity altogether, and you're talking to the wrong person because in advertising, we don't enter awards. It's not that a lot of film awards have a lot of credibility either, but awards are just are like businesses themselves, you know. So you shouldn't be taking them seriously. An award can't decide what is correct for you or what is correct for work. Like I keep saying that. You know, there are times when, for example, in advertising, the Cannes Awards are supposed to be the most so-called marketed prestigious awards in the world. Okay, and I've sat in Cannes juries, and you would be shocked to kind of see what people like and what people don't like. There are a certain set of work that the award committees like because you have to set benchmarks of different kind in award shows. You know, so the parameters in which you judge things have got nothing to do with what that set out to do. So if you start taking that seriously, you'll go insane. You'll run out of business, number one. Second, you'll stop doing the business because you're doing the awards business. Then you should be paid by the awards committees to do work, not by the industry or the people you're kind of talking to. So that's a completely different ball game, and I think that's passé.
Okay, we're going to be running out of time in about 3.5 seconds. So I'm going to ask both of you, since we have a young audience over here, we have a mentoring program after this. I'd like each of you to tell the audience, the young audience, what you think they shouldn't be doing. They have their lives ahead of them. They're going to be taking career choices soon. What shouldn't they be doing, Balki? What shouldn't they be doing? Don't tell them to go home and study and honor thy father and mother and all the rest of that. You know, let's give them a real life lesson. Say, I don't want to know what mistakes you made. I want to know what mistakes you would tell them not to.
You know, when you're old, you say when you're older, you say time is very important. You've just got this much time. Time is the most important thing that human beings have. I advise people, don't panic. You have lots of time in the world, and you'd be surprised. You wouldn't know what to do with lots of it. So there is no need to panic. There's no need to kind of grab things as soon as they come or kind of be in this race to do something and get ahead. The pressures of all the world and everything that's coming at you are all coming and do something, be somebody. There's so much of, I think, chill. It'll happen. Just don't panic.
Good one. Stefan?
Well, since I'm a circus guy, I would probably say, what's the difference between a great juggler and a not great juggler? And the answer is, a great juggler has dropped the balls more than a not great juggler. He has made more mistakes publicly than a not great juggler. You know, so the thing I would say is, you won't do something because you're shy or because you're scared to go in front of people. And I would say, you're being selfish when you do that. Because each and every one of us has a contribution artistically to connect with other people. And when you say, oh, I'm just shy, I don't need to do this, I see that as selfish because you're withholding what you could contribute to the world. And if we all try harder to have the courage to actually attempt to do public discourse, stuff out there, then that'll feed your soul and the people around you. So that's it.
Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank both my guests on stage. They've been extremely candid, have put up with a lot of embarrassing questions from me for both of them. And all I can say is that they will both be available for selfies at the back of the hall in about 30 seconds. No, we're all yours.
Thank you so much. We've had such an enlivening discussion and heard so many points on how theatre and these arts are actually all about connections, connecting with people. And that's what they've been doing. And we thank you all three of you, for giving us words of wisdom and such an enlivening evening. Thank you. And now I call upon the chairperson of the IAA. Yes. Okay. So we request Mr. Sundar Swami to kindly address everyone and also please give out the mementos. Thank you.
Good evening, friends. I'm going to be very, very brief because I think we're running behind time. It certainly was an engaging interaction. It certainly was entertaining interaction. And I think all of us did pick up a lesson or two in this interaction. Of course, my favorite was what Stephen said about copying and creating. That's something I'm going to carry in my head, as many of you would. I'm going to use this opportunity to give each of you a memento with your personalized name on it. So I want you to drink coffee and remember AA. And whenever you drink something else, also remember AA. Can I have those marks, please? While okay, you also get 2 nights stay at Eco Village. Have a wonderful time with nature.
Do I have to go with the two of them?
I also have one for the Pandit, Naveen Gandharv.